Welcome to Graceful Healing, a podcast to get straight talk about healing and living again. My name is Maureen Lake. I'm a holistic health coach, speaker, author, and thyroid disease fighter. Each week, I'll be bringing you graceful conversations to inspire you to seek new ways to hit the reset button to catapult your health and vitality to new levels. Listen in and open your heart to all the new possibilities. Are you ready? Let's do this. Kelly Morgan is an inspiration. Her story is powerful and really important. It all started back when she was in high school. Wasn't that just the angst time for all of us who even care to remember? Her eating difficulties stayed with her through college, where she even worked in the fitness industry, but still had an eating disorder. She began to realize she had a problem, and about that same time she went back to school to get her Ph.D. She got it in health communication and learned to motivate women using psychology and communication. Suddenly, her health coaching practice was born, and now she's the happiest she's ever been. Like Kelly says, it started with anorexia and ended up with the happiest she's ever been because she gets to connect with people daily, and sometimes they even pay her. You're going to love Kelly and her super sincere and passionate personality. Her story is truly amazing. Hello, everybody. I can't wait to introduce you to my friend Kelly Morgan. I met her first when I was honored to be the guest on an amazing summit she did earlier this year called The Healthy Lifestyle for Overachieving Women. So that was so much fun, Kelly, to get to know you then, and then obviously to invite you as one of my very first guests on my podcast.
You know, it's so exciting to be a part of this. It's nice to be able to help each other out.
It really is. It's great. So, Kelly, I'd love for you just to share your personal story and your journey, how you landed where you are today, because you're in such an amazing position and so able to influence women around the world, literally. So I want my listeners to be able to hear about your story. So let's get going.
Yeah, I'd love to tell you that. I will warn you, it sounds like kind of a downer of a story, but there is a really happy ending, so stay with me.
We love happy endings.
Back when I was in high school, I suffered from anorexia. It sort of happened just like it turned on a switch as one day I was like, hey, I don't have to eat. And it continued through college, and every day of my life was excruciating because of how much effort I had to put into my health. Everything took thought and planning and obsession. And, obviously most people don't feel that to the point of, anorexia, but I've recognized over the years that lots of women feel that same just anxiety that I did. And even going through it myself, I would not have wished it on anybody. And after I graduated from college, I realized, I wasn't really doing what I loved. So I had started as a fitness instructor for fun in college. And after a few years of working, I picked that up again just for fun, teaching like 3 classes a week tops. And I was like, okay, I like my day job as, a plain old boring analyst, but I really love going to teach these people at the gym. And I got this whole group of women that I loved every minute with them. They were excited, they were inspiring, they were fun. So I thought, you know what? I'd love to do something with that. I mean, obviously the fitness industry is not necessarily a lucrative industry if you're just an instructor or a trainer. So I went back to school. I got my Ph.D. in health communication and learned how to work with women and create messages and ways to motivate them using psychology and communication and really like research and science-based ways to just help them along. So after graduation, I did a brief self-imposed practicum as a personal trainer at a big box gym. I absolutely loved it, but doing that full time would have killed me. It's a commission-based job, and we got a mortgage to pay.
Right.
So I decided, hey, you know what? While I'm working full time in my normal job, just as a marketing director and all that stuff, I thought, I bet there's more I could do. At the same time, I was also teaching at George Mason University in the sport management department and the health departments. And I thought, gosh, I love working with students. I love this one-on-one time and connecting with them. I bet I could do this with, like grown adults. And this is where I got the idea for my health coaching business, Tsirona. Now, the coaching business is not revolutionary. There are tons of coaches out there. So I found my angle to be helping really high achieving women, because those are the ones who tend to make their lives super hard and obsessive with their health and really like take the path of most resistance to everything instead of finding the easy way. So I got to helping them, and I just had my 1-year business anniversary of doing this full time as a health coach. And I found that being with these women, working in community like how I met you and our summit and everything, just spending time with these just incredible people, it is the happiest I've ever been. So that was, I told you there'd be a happy ending to this.
I can hear it in your voice. It's wonderful.
Yeah. It started with anorexia and ended with just the happiest I've ever been, because I get to, often for free, just connecting with people, but sometimes they actually pay me. Oh my gosh, to do this all the time. Yeah. So I got here.
Oh, that's wonderful. I have to ask you, because I meant to ask you before, how did you actually name your company? Because it's spelled so differently than you pronounce it. And it must have some kind of meaning to it.
It's one of my biggest business regrets. So I have a friend that I had worked with when I was director of marketing at my old company. I had worked with just this incredible designer. He is so funny and so creative, and he and I just clicked. So I hired him as my very first designer for my website. This was before I was full-time, so this was like 4 years ago. And I had no name for this company. I just was like tapped out. I'd gone through school and everything, and all of my brain power was just done. So he said, okay, I have an idea. How about Tsirona? It's the Gaelic goddess of health and wellness. And he made it jazzy with a T at the beginning. So I don't know what he was thinking, but it's made everything confusing.
Yeah. Well, it's beautiful though. It really is.
Thank you. I've ended up liking it, but thinking, man, why didn't I pick something easier?
Well, it is beautiful, but it is hard to spell. I'll give you that.
Amen.
Yeah. Wow. It's just incredible, like where you started and where you are now. It's really, so inspirational. So if you could tell the listeners, what are some key lessons that you learned along the way? Like, especially like how it helped shape your mindset.
Yeah.
Be huge to learn.
Okay, well, I learned one huge, huge, huge lesson through all this, and it's become my personal motto and my business motto. It's don't make it so hard. I am one of those people that's blessed with the inclination to make everything as complicated as possible. So I've, as I've aged, mature, we'll call it matured. As I've matured, and I've found that not only did I make like everything in my life as complicated as possible, but my health from that moment where anorexia just clicked and I was like, yeah, that's the best way to do this. I found that making everything really hard is exhausting. Mm-hmm. And included in that hard is complicated, strict, overwhelming, all of these things where it's just like, it makes you just say, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. So to just uncomplicate your life, your mindset, everything you do. It's especially hard for my population and myself, the high achievers, but it will change your life. Like, especially with health, there is no one way to get to a healthy life. There are so many paths. Mm-hmm. And the flip side of that is also really good. You have to do a lot to mess up if you're trying to be healthy. Like, you're really not going to mess it up.
Do you think, because growing up, I also suffered from an eating disorder, and I felt like I had to be perfect all the time. And I agree with you. It makes life so much more complicated. And then when you can't reach that level of perfection that you think you need to be at, that stress and anxiety and everything else kind of overcomes you and takes over. So I think probably a lot of women that are overachieving feel a lot of those same things, throughout their entire life because they're constantly on the go and don't really take the time to rest and pause and really reflect on themselves.
I was just talking to a client yesterday, and she said something that really spoke to me, and it definitely is along the lines of what you're saying, where it's like never enough. She told me that, she has these things, like she is taking on small tasks, and she does what so many of us do, where it's like one little thing by itself is not a big deal. Doing laundry is not a big deal. Like trying to call the insurance company, not a big deal. Or, all these little things, not a big deal. But it's when you've added them all up, it's a huge deal. And we still have this mindset of, oh, so what? It's just one more thing. I'll just be the committee chair for this. I'll just take charge of that. It's each one of these things. Yeah, it's not that big a deal, but you've added it on. But we keep telling ourselves, you shouldn't be stressed and tired. Why are you so tired? Why are you so stressed out? I even do it to myself still until I'm like, Kelly, stop it.
I know.
And, we talk ourselves into it over and over again with this whole perfectionism you're talking about.
Exactly. It's like, I can just take on one more thing here because after all, I am super mom or superwoman, whatever. And then when you really stop and think about what you're doing to your life and your community and everyone else around you, it can be really detrimental for a lot of people and a lot of reasons. But it's a hard lesson to learn. It really is.
Well, and, you're not making things better by just taking on one more thing. The moms seem to especially do this, where it's like, oh, fine, I'll just do it. You're not making things better for anybody here. And, soon you're going to have something so insignificant, the straw that broke the camel's back, it's always insignificant. And you're going to just lose it on your family, your friends, your coworkers. And someone's going to say, why is that such a big deal? I just asked if she could refill the coffee pot.
Exactly.
It's going to happen at some point, unfortunately. And it's never just about the coffee pot. It's about everything else.
Exactly. So tell me what you're doing now. I mean, I know personally that you have a new online course and coaching program. So can you tell us about that and anything else you have going on right now that you want to share?
Yeah. So my new program, You But Better, is all about this not making health so hard idea.
I love that title.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That had been flopping around in my head for a couple years, and I finally found something to do with it.
I love it.
So the whole program's based on really everything I've gathered. I have gained so much of this information and, idea from my whole community of people in the industry like you, and from the summit that we did together, and from just reading and listening. And it all came together in my mind as these 6 parts of a healthy lifestyle that if we just focus a little bit, get them in order, that it can be taken care of. We can just have a life of ease, and we don't need to worry about health anymore. We can get on to all this other million things we're doing. So 6 pillars are goal setting, mindset, fitness, nutrition, stress management, and energy management. And all of those work together so that we can just kind of just let things flow. Once you've figured out how to just set some habits, get it going, you can let it flow and you don't need to worry about this forever. I'm not in the business of repeat clients, which may be detrimental to my wallet, but it's how I really feel health coaching should be. You're not with me forever. You graduate. And this program is kind of like that. So it has what I've found to be most important with the people I talk to is there's an online course, but what people find really valuable is we have one-on-one coaching calls. And what I find for most women I talk to is that we all know what we're supposed to do. Yeah, we got it. We know. Move more, eat less, eat fruits and vegetables.
Right.
Duh.
Maybe meditate.
Meditate, sleep more. We all know what we're supposed to do. It's just we keep putting aside being like, yeah, I'll get to it. And the problem is we kind of outsmart ourselves. We're way too smart because we're like, I already know what to do. So the coaching calls, they kind of center around, we figure out what's going on, and it's that accountability. So I'd recommend to anybody trying to make a health change that you have accountability to somebody and somebody that you can talk to. This could be like your best friend, your sister, your husband, whoever it is.
Mm-hmm.
You can have, just so you have somebody to bounce your ideas off of and someone to be accountable to. That's what I've found to be, whether it's in my research or it's in like actual experience with clients, that is the X factor, having that community around you.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what type of thing you're doing with your health, I recommend that everybody has somebody to talk to.
Oh, that's so true. So with your program, is it online so that people can join anywhere around the country or the world as a community and meet together? Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's online. So it's an online course through a platform called Teachable that's super easy to use. And then we do, depending on, some people just do phone calls, or I use Zoom conferencing and we do face-to-face. So you can be anywhere and we can play together. And eventually, I'm still in my first round. Eventually, we're going to have a community where everybody can talk together too, which is beneficial. It's just, it's like on the to-do list.
Sure. You are overachieving, so you'll get there. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I do have a problem.
Well, it sounds amazing. I mean, everything that you're doing at the university level, with the people in your private practice, it's wonderful what you're doing and the impact you're making on women's lives.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So I really appreciate so much you spending this time with me today, but I end every session with one little question, and that is, what is some advice, if you could go back and tell your younger self, what would you tell them or tell her?
That's not exactly a little question.
Well, it is for me just to try to spit it out, but not for you to try to formulate your idea, that's for sure.
No, that's a big one. Let's see. I'd probably tell her that, well, obviously the don't make it so hard advice, but I don't think she'd listen. Mm-hmm. So I think I'd tell her that just keep exposing yourself to lots of things in life. And yeah, I'm naturally introverted and very shy. And I didn't really blossom until I started just talking to people and exposing myself to other people's stories and sharing mine. And, it's not like making friends, like that's not a problem, but it's the getting out there and finding something between friendship and networking, creating your own community, your people that you can come to. And this is a support network for anything in life. Health, of course, that's kind of my thing. But for anything else in life, I would tell myself, if I went back to, say, like little Kelly, like elementary school Kelly, I'd tell her this to get started, where it's, just force yourself to start hanging with people, just relaxing. Mm-hmm. And I found that, I found in like baby steps throughout growing up. When I started cheerleading in high school and then college, then I joined my sorority in college, and now I'm a member of the Junior League of Washington. And doing this, each one, it's like I have to psych myself up a little bit, but it's always worth it. And each one of those things has grown me as a person and allowed me to see different ways of living. So that's going to be my like catch all for what little baby Kelly should have done, mm-hmm. because it affects all aspects of your life.
Boy, isn't that the truth? Yeah, that's wonderful advice for anybody. It is. It's always like those baby steps that you can make that you don't know necessarily where the end of your journey is going to be, but you're going to grow getting there.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Awesome.
There's a book called, speaking of that, there's a book called Little Bets. It's a business book, but it talks about these like tiny little incremental decisions you can make that can change everything. So, along the lines of what you're saying, these baby steps, that book is amazing on that topic.
Oh, cool. I just wrote that down because I'm looking for a new book.
You'll like that one. It's an easy read. Most business books.
Yeah. Was there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners? It was wonderful having you today.
I think I'd just like everybody to truly give yourself a little bit of grace. Mm-hmm. Allow yourself to experiment and try new things with your health, with your life, and, find your own way, but do so in a way that's not so hard on yourself. Don't make it hard, and don't be a slave to perfectionism.
Mm-hmm. Perfect advice. What a great way to end our show, Kelly. Thank you so, so much for being here.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, thank you so much for joining me today. This episode is brought to you by my book, The Graceful Advocate, Taking Control of Your Life After a Diagnosis of Thyroid Disease. You can find it currently on Amazon. I love it because my friends call it a purse book. They keep it with them when they go to the pharmacy, grocery store, or even to the doctor's office. It's a great little guide to keep you on track and informed. I can't wait for next week when I get to see you back on the pod. Thank you for listening. I really do appreciate you so much. If you ever need someone to chat with about your healing journey, don't ever hesitate to reach out to me through my website at maureenlake.com.